Ray Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, here we are. Let's go.
It is Friday. This is the last Friday before Christmas. Now, in the old days, I would tell you, make sure you get to the mall because the crowds are going to be crazy. But
Make sure
mall life is a thing of the past.
Crocker Park is still crazy.
Is it really?
Around Christmas?
I haven't been to a mall and I don't even know how long.
Legacy Village was popping.
10 years.
I shouldn't say that. Legacy Village probably the same.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to, but I went to Crocker Park like 8 years ago, like a day or two before Christmas, and it was insane.
I would always
so I've never
imagine
gone
that a
back.
day or two before, because at that point Amazon's no longer an option for
Right,
Christmas
yeah,
delivery.
yeah.
So I imagine, but somebody sent a meme to me the other day, and it said 1980s mall scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all video from Christmas week from malls all across America.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten what it was like to walk shoulder to shoulder through huge malls.
Was there some nostalgia in that?
Well,
did it hit you a little bit different?
It did hit me, for a minute. And I mean a minute.
For a microsecond.
I'm like, you know, I kind of miss that. People mingling in the same spot.
Well, just watch Stranger Things. They got a mall on that. That goes back to the 80s.
Yeah.
The gap, ups and downs.
Oh my goodness! Going to
shoes.
the smell and Abercrombie and Fish.
I worked there in college.
Oh my gosh, that smell when that hits you.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have like 6 hemp bracelets.
Actually, I didn't really work there. We just played hacky sack and screwed around. Like that was their whole brand back there was be rude to the customers and don't help
just pull
anyone.
up. Yeah,
it was crazy.
You really walked in at your own risk. Because the second you stepped into the store, you're like,
think about this.
Respiratory failure coming.
In Brooklyn, which, if it was its own city, would be the 5th largest city in America.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
I don't know if it was in 1980 when I was a kid, but it probably wasn't too far off.
That's crazy. I mean, even now.
There was only one mall in all of Brooklyn. It was called the King's, that I knew of,
Oh, yeah, I know that mall.
It was called the King's Plaza Mall.
So it had to be, it was
And it was insane.
Yeah.
But what's also funny is my friends and I would go to that mall, which was like 15 minutes from my house.
Just to hang out, right?
To hang out.
Sure.
And we'd go by ourselves. Like when we were in
it was a
high school.
babysitter, is what it was.
You got
Parents would drop you off at the mall with $10. You'd hit the arcade. You'd go to a movie. You'd be there all day. You'd buy, a little dinner at the
ice cream.
Yeah, I mean,
we wouldn't even get dropped off. We'd take the city bus.
Oh wow!
In our case.
Yeah.
So
you grew up quick
crazy.
in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you grew up quick, man. You got a lot of responsibility.
If you 5-year-olds in Brooklyn, you actually about 12 years old in real time. Like you got
like dog years.
Like think about it. You gotta get on the train and it'd be strangers and homeless people.
Trains.
And then change trains, and then you be walking around. You can give 5-year-olds give people directions. Oh no, ma'am.
Yeah.
You missed it. This is the red train. You want to get on the blue? Take it to 66th Street.
Yeah.
There's a great little coffee shop by there. You're like, you're 5 though. When you drink coffee.
You grew up quick, man.
By the way, this morning, I've got a beef here, and I'm hoping you guys agree with me.
Air it.
So this morning, I did go to the bagel store.
Okay.
Although I probably shouldn't have. But I went to the bagel store, and there's people in line on their phones, which nowadays is not a big deal. Everybody's on their phone.
Not uncommon.
But if you're going to be on your phone while waiting in line to order,
pay attention.
you better know what you're ordering already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because don't give me this crap where you get up to the front and you're like, what should I get? No. Unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree.
Unacceptable.
How do you not know what you're going to get when you walk in the door?
Especially a bagel store.
What if it's your first time?
There's a couple offerings.
Yeah.
What if it's your first time, dog? What if
you a bagel with cream cheese?
Let me just tell you. Listen. We not as cultured as y'all. Like we only know what we want at McDonald's. If I go to a bagel store, I've maybe had 2 bagels and them's English buff muffins that don't even really count. So what if I don't know? I'm going up there. I'm like, so what do you suggest?
You've only had 2 bagels in your life?
I mean, we're not going to the bagel store just by going. You about to go to the Hostess outlet and get you a couple bagels in a bag.
You can't get a good bagel that way.
How many black people was in line for the bagels?
G, let me
in New York, black people eat bagels all the time.
Yeah, but G, in New York, and I didn't know this until I moved there. In New York, bagels and bagel shops are really kind of the tent pole of everyone's life. everyone's day starts at a bagel shop, and they're everywhere.
They're on every
Even in the suburbs of New York. Everywhere.
But if I live in Cleveland,
there's not as many options.
Thank
You're
you.
Why is it a Northeast thing? Because it really is. It is indigenous to
I don't know why that is.
My son really is the only one of us that really I consider a Northeast product.
Because he's lived there.
He was very young when we moved there. He was in the 5th grade.
Right.
He chooses to coach at Rutgers. He lives in the Northeast. He loves it. He loves everything about it.
Even though she's not from the Northeast, his fiance is Jewish. And
so she does get into the
culture with
You're
bagels.
right. She gets into the bagel culture. But here's 2 things that Corey has that my wife, myself, or Kirsten does not have.
Yeah.
This snobbiness about pizza and bagels.
He's got that?
Oh, he absolutely
I like
has
that.
it.
I appreciate that.
He will throw daggers at you if you eat pizza the wrong way or the wrong kind. So what are you doing?
When he comes home,
much like you.
Yeah, when he comes home, if you're ordering some chain pizza, he'd be offended.
Man.
Bull, one of the reasons that I told
found
you
that pizza shop.
I told you Deloro's is it.
Yeah.
It's the only one Corey likes.
It's the
Why?
best. Yeah.
It's Northeast style pizza.
Yeah, I haven't had any better here in the 14
tremendous.
years.
It is tremendous. But it's funny how when you grow up there, everybody knows your favorite bagel shop.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows your favorite bagel and how you want it.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, too. And everybody, of course, knows the pizza.
Yeah.
How you need it, what kind you like, everything.
We order Marco's once a week.
Hey, easy access.
Bull, when Bull
It's
sees
a
the
fundraiser
new commercials, the new commercial advertising campaign for Domino's is Domino's. And every time I see it, I think of Bull because I'm like, Bull's screaming with clenched fist right now.
My son was at a birthday party recently, and I knew it wasn't a birthday party. It was just a get together of a bunch of friends at somebody's house. But I knew they were getting pizza, so he gets home. I'm like, "What pizza did you have?" And he looks at me like,
You're raising a pizza
"It was
snob,
Papa
too.
John's."
Shout out to the chat, McNuggets. They did back me up. They said
McNuggets, you're probably
They did back
judgy
me
when
up.
it comes
Yeah.
to pizza, too, because even though
What'd they back you up
not
about?
from New York City,
They backed me up. They
Jersey's
said
the same
the
thing.
only bagel we
night
know
and day.
is from the steak bagel
Yeah.
from McDonald's menu.
That's a Cleveland thing, not a black.
That's
thing,
what we know, the steak bagel. That's it.
Panera's got good bagels.
Yeah.
Oh
we-
my God,
Connecticut's the worst state in America. It's not close.
Panera has decent
Oh,
bread,
you
but
said
not
Panera.
their
I thought you
bagels.
said Connecticut.
You know they're going out of business.
Are they?
I'm drinking all their coffee. That's why.
A lot of them are going around.
oh, they're closing.
Closed, a
stuff,
lot
but
of
they're not
closing.
shutting
No.
down the chain yet.
But Panera used to be.
I saw
I saw
500 Wendy's are going to close next year.
Really?
Really?
Wendy's, like, they're the champion of French fries.
When they went down to them 4 nuggets, they messed themselves up.
I do like their new ad campaign, though, where they're calling
Nuggies?
They're tendies,
Tendies
instead of Wendy's.
Yeah.
Because they're if you're going to eat that,
The chicken strips are pretty
and I
good.
don't recommend it, but if you're going to get chicken at a fast food, outside of Cane's,
Yeah, Cane's to me is the
like
best.
Wendy's chicken and their products are
Yeah.
really good. They do serve good
Burger
chicken.
King is the grossest. I'm
Is
sorry.
there
Yeah.
is
I like the
addicted
Whopper,
to
though.
Cane's, like my kids are.
He's obsessed with
Ava
Cane's.
is obsessed with Cane's.
Corey said they
Obsessed.
just opened one in New Jersey. Now,
Yes.
Michael will
really?
attest to this. New Jersey's not big on chains. You do
No,
not
no,
see
no.
a lot of chain restaurants. Everything's mom and pop. They opened a new one. Corey said people lost their minds. 2.5-hour wait.
Yeah.
For Cane's?
For Cane's.
It's Cane's
lines
is good. It's
spilling
not
out
that
onto
good.
the highway
It's not
for
that good.
miles.
I love Cane's.
Cane's
2.5
is
hours
tremendous.
is too much.
I would
not-
never
I would
wait
never
there.
wait
No.
2.5 hours
No.
for it. But here's the thing: it's probably young people
Yeah.
that have had it somewhere else before and
Right.
are so ready for it again that they're like, well, they don't know the line's 2.5 hours. They
I
don't
think
tell
they're-
you when you're in line it's a 2.5-hour wait.
I think their fries are underrated. I like their fries.
I do like their fries.
I like all. You know what I like about them? They just do a couple things
Very
and they
simple.
can be great at it.
Yeah.
You know,
Ava
stay in
loves
your
the
lane.
sauce.
Don't get crazy.
It's the sauce.
My Aaron,
Yeah.
too. He's obsessed with
Sauce
the
is
sauce. Yeah,
tremendous. Is there anything sports worthy to talk about today
Yeah.
or no?
Yeah, we got a game
Plenty of
this
things.
weekend. The Cavs have a big game tonight. We're going to talk a little Guardians. We got a guest. Let's dive into it all, guys. It starts with the word from Game Time. The World Cup is coming to North America for the first time since 1994. With 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Download Game Time today. All right, guys. Let's talk a little football. We have the Buffalo Bills coming to town on Sunday to take on Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. And, in the last 2 games, we've seen the ups and the downs of Shedeur. Against Tennessee, played very well. Against Chicago, we all agreed, not so much. So which version of Shedeur do you think we'll get on Sunday against Buffalo?
Setup question, McNuggets. Hey, listen, I'm in a festive mood. Shout out to Green out here. Get your Christmas present, get your tree together, preferably a real one. I'm on the real tree move, even though this year I don't have a real tree. Don't ask me how.
You guys do real trees?
Used to, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a real tree and then there ended up being like a creature in it?
No. I've heard that happen.
But I have.
I don't want to derail this whole thing real quick.
Yeah.
At our old house, I was going to start this tradition of I was going to buy a live tree and then plant it. That we were going to have a tradition of live pine trees that we
Oh, you thought you was somebody.
Decorated outside.
Okay, so what happened?
Try dig a hole in Ohio in January.
Yeah, that's
big
not
enough to
gonna
fit
go
a pine tree. I did that one time. It was
With
like,
a shovel.
I
Maybe
said-
yesterday. It was nice and warm. But,
you know what? It was actually the year when Blatt was here and Griff had to come out and give a vote of confidence to Blatt. It was a Sunday afternoon. It was unannounced. He was going to come out and do it.
Yeah.
And I was in my backyard trying to shovel a hole in the frozen. So I missed Griff's vote of confidence for Blatt.
My God.
And I finally just drug the tree to the road. I'm like, the hell with it. And
Wow,
that was
you played it out the
I was
window.
going to ask, how's the tree doing today? But
It never happened.
it's in a
been in the
dumpster
landfill
somewhere.
for 5 years.
So as we derail the conversation, and stall a little bit, I think that he plays a little bit in between both of those games. I don't think he'll get to Tennessee 300 yards. I mean, it's the Bills. I mean, granted, the Bills don't have the craziest defense in the world. But I don't think he'll have as bad a game as he did against the Bears. And the reason why is he spoke on Wednesday and he talked about talking to Jameis Winston. And one of the things that Jameis Winston spoke to him about was, hey, it's about winning. It's about finding a way to win and getting your team to opportunity to put them in a position to win. And I think he also said, and he alluded to something that, he has to have more completions. The one thing is that he's done well is throw the ball downfield. He's done a good job of finding some of those splash plays that we talk about. However, the area that he's struggling with, or he struggled with specifically in the Bears, is finding the underneath stuff, finding some of the stuff to move the change. And for me, I think Shedeur, I know when he's playing well, when the Cleveland Browns can move the chains and get multiple first downs. And that's part of just winning football. Because the longer you have the ball, even if you don't score, the longer you have the ball, you can keep the other team off the field, especially Josh Allen. So I think when he said that, I think there's been an emphasis from Tommy Rees and from just watching the films of saying, hey, let's take some of those things that we can get. We love the fact that you're going downfield, and we're going to still be aggressive when we see those things. But the key to the Cleveland Browns, and when you don't have that many great weapons outside and you don't have a running game, you need to find a way to move the sticks to give yourself opportunities to move the football. So I think he'll play somewhere between the way he did against the Titans and a little bit somewhere between the way he did in the Bears. The numbers will look a little better because I do think they'll be down. I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't picking the Browns to win this football game, but I think.
You just gave it away.
Look at me. You giving it away. Ain't nobody should be picking them to win. But I do believe that they will be down in the second half, so he will be throwing the ball a little more, so the numbers will look a little better.
Shedeur Sanders is a young quarterback, an inexperienced NFL quarterback, obviously, who has some interesting upside and strengths, while also having some real flaws in his game that he needs to improve on. Combine that with what I think has been poor coaching, what clearly is poor talent, especially now on the offensive line, although I guess it's possible Wyatt Teller would play, which would help a little bit on the offensive line. And add in the fact that, the Bills might end up being the best team in football, and that there's going to be some pressure on the defense because they haven't played well. I just don't see a scenario where he plays that good a game. I just think it's a tough situation, and he's got enough flaws in his game right now, as most young quarterbacks would in this point in their careers, that it's going to be hard. I think he'll make a couple of plays, as he's done even in his worst game last week. He made a few plays where you're like, okay, I see something there, and I think he'll do that again. But I think it's going to be more bad than good for the Browns off passing game.
Yeah. It'll be somewhere in the middle. I don't think anybody expects him to go out and throw for 300 like he did against Tennessee. Really, the Tennessee game, it was really the last 6-8 minutes, right? Like that's really what sort of set him apart and made you think, okay, maybe there's more here than we've given him. At least for me, maybe there's more here. Than we've given him
I would
credit
agree
for.
with that. Yeah.
So now you're going against a team that I probably, if you make me pick today, I'd probably pick them to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And so this is like, that's why coming off Tennessee is like, okay, I like throw out for me. I won't speak for you guys. Throw out the Cincinnati game. It's two teams going nowhere, playing for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what you're
We're not
going
gonna
to
learn
draw
much from that.
But it's this 3-game stretch here of Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. It's going to tell you a lot. And you know the Steelers are in the weird spot where it may all come down to Week 18 for them. But next week's still important, one way or the other, obviously. Especially if Baltimore loses between now and then. So you've got 3 teams that are playoff contenders that are playing pretty well, and that's a pretty good barometer for them.
And they got to have it. And
Yeah.
I think
They're
this-
like playoff games for
Yeah.
those teams.
And I like the fact that you talked about Jameis Winston and saying, you know, winning is important for young guys. I know we might be in a position where, you know, we looking towards the coach, the general manager, but these games against highly quality coaches, high quality staffs, teams that got something to play for, if you can truly play well in these games, that tells me a little something, because those teams ain't gonna come out here and play with you. They're gonna try to get you up out of here because they're playing for their playoff life. So, you know, it's a good barometer and a good way to check to see which one of these guys want to add and stack onto something.
Yeah, I think that all the answers here are exactly right. It's somewhere in the middle. I think the floor is the Chicago game, and I think the ceiling is the Tennessee game. And I don't think we're going to see anything outside of those ranges in his last 3 starts. At least I would hope we don't. If we do, I hope it's on the high side. Buffalo is a team that's going to put a lot of pressure on, and I'm not talking about blitzing pressure. They're going to put a lot of pressure on this Browns offense, because before you ever kick the game off, you know that you're going to need multiple touchdown drives. It's not. This is not a game, and I wasn't feeling that way even with the Chicago game because of the weather. And you know, Chicago's offense is good, but it's not Buffalo. I thought against the Chicago game, if they could get 3 scoring drives, they could be in the game. That ended up being wrong, but I think with Buffalo, this is a game where they know going in, we've got no wiggle room, boys. We can't have 3 and outs like we did against Chicago. If you have 3 and outs, you're just feeding Buffalo's machine. So I think it'll be somewhere in the middle there. If I had to pick, is it going to be closer to Chicago or to Tennessee? I would say that, but barely. I would say it's probably going to be closer to Chicago, only because you mentioned the last 8 minutes of the game against Tennessee. Prior to the last 8 minutes of the game,
It was meh.
it was very meh.
Good first half, shaky second half.
But G makes a great point. This is a game that could be 21-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I've said this before, and I want to see this again, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a situation where you're down 3 scores. I think Shedeur Sanders plays his best football in rhythm. When he's up there and going, and to your point about Tommy Rees, I listened to Tommy Rees's news conference, and Tommy Rees, if he's saying it like that to us, you can bet he's really emphasizing it to Shedeur. He just didn't sugarcoat it. He said, look, he makes some throws downfield. But that's really not what we're looking for right now. We're looking for sustained drives, keep the team on the field, and that includes the short stuff, the 4 and 5. And I know that's boring, and I know nobody wants to watch that, but that's the part of the game that he's going to need in today's NFL. It's not pretty, but it's necessary. Even the Rams yesterday, they had some drives where they were just going 4-5, mixing the run game with the short passing game. So I think that's the part I want to see Shedeur master. The running in rhythm, and I'm not saying hurry up from the first quarter, but run with some urgency and have some tempo, because I think he does his best work in those situations. We certainly saw it in the late drives against Tennessee. He looked like an NFL quarterback in those 2 drives.
Absolutely.
And Leroy talked about it really quickly. Leroy talked about it. He says this about the run game. He said, you know, you can look at a guy who you know, got 5 or 6 carries, right? And he's average, you know, he has 80-something yards. He didn't get all those yards on an average tilt where you getting 6 yards a carry. If you look at it, he probably got 24, 25 of those yards. And so for Shedeur Sanders, what you got to understand is what Tommy Rees is saying, to get to the deep throws, You got to get through the small ones first.
Right.
So those small throws that move the chains give you another opportunity to potentially hit one of those bigger plays. But if you're not moving the chains and you're not taking advantage of that stuff, it's going to end up with your defense being on the field, and then you're going to get to the point where it's 21-3, and then you're not in a good position at that point to even come back.
Last week, half of his yardage came on 2 throws.
Well, you're not going to have sustained success in the NFL if your best play is always the play breaks down, just go deep.
Yeah, right.
And they've cashed on those, and that's great. Like, that's great.
It's a great skill set to have.
But you got to have more than that.
You got to be able to
can't
do
be
the other stuff too.
The main thing. By the way, according to ESPN Analytics, what percentage chance do you think the Browns have of winning this game?
4?
I'd say higher than that. I'd say it's the NFL. I'd say 11, 15.
I say 13.
It's actually higher than all that. 19%.
Yeah.
In other words, if they played 10 times, the Browns would win twice. I just don't buy that.
I don't either.
I mean, it's
I would say 1 out of 10.
It's a savage sport.
It's a December game in which you have no advantage at all because it's cold. None.
Right. None.
And also, it's a game against a team that is very much jockeying for seeds.
Right.
And it's just when you look at the skill sets of the two teams. Now, all that being said, last year when the Niners came in here, I would have given the Browns a 5 to 10% chance to beat the Niners.
The Packers this year.
The Packers this year, right? I mean, it's like, but we've had our we won game this year.
You know, Jay, you said it's not an advantage for the Browns the weather, and you're right. In fact, I would argue it's a disadvantage because Josh Allen's got the strongest arm in the league.
Yeah.
If it's windy,
he'll cut through that.
Yeah.
More
than any other quarterback.
I am fascinated to see what the composition of the crowd looks like on Sunday. Because
I think
the
we
Bills
know.
Mafia travels.
Yes.
And
it's 2 hours away.
I'm going anecdotally. If for anybody that's been in the stadium, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last 2 or 3 home games, the stadium, to my eyes at home, looked to be half full.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. If you count the orange seats, I mean, it ain't
maybe
been
more.
Do you think it's going to be more than 50% Bills fans?
Here's the thing. Whatever seats are not occupied by Browns fans will be occupied by Bills fans.
Yeah, 100%.
They're looking at this as we would look at a game in Detroit.
Right.
If Detroit was out of it and we very much were in it, we're like, hey, let's take a road trip. You're there in a couple hours.
Cincinnati,
or Cincinnati or Pittsburgh.
Well, the next 2 weeks are going to look like that because Pittsburgh will be the same thing. I told you we were in the crowd for the game against Tennessee, and that was half full.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was freezing
Titans
cold.
have no fan base and they stink. But,
that day was frigid.
But the Bills will fill those seats.
Oh yeah.
So, it'll be 50% Bills crowd.
I think
at least.
I do think when you look at it, the Browns are I think an underdog, and I think most people will say we're not about to pick them. But remember, I mean, this is the NFL. Like, it's weird. Like, Josh Allen is pretty much, I don't know by the statistics, I don't know how much he accounts for their offense, but Josh Allen has to feel like 75%.
Well, I don't think so, because James Cook is a 1,500-yard rusher.
But he's probably one of the highest, if not the highest in the league.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's hampered a little bit or hobbled a little bit, maybe they run the ball a little more. But I mean, look,
I don't think he's hampered or hobbled.
No, I mean
I'm just saying,
he means during the game.
During the game,
he's coming in 100% healthy.
So
I mean, if Allen doesn't get hurt or the Browns don't win the turnover battle somehow by 3 or more, there's no way they win this game.
And it's so crazy. I still try to figure out how they got blew out by the Dolphins, but it's one of them games. One of them games.
That was a weird one.
That's
a division game too.
G.
Division things happen. We all know weird things happen in the division.
That's true.
Sometimes.
That's true.
All right, let's get to our next topic, guys. It is brought to us by Prize Picks. We all make decisions every day. I do, you do, we all do. And on Prize Picks, being right in those decisions can get you paid. Don't miss any excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action if you haven't tried it yet. Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first 5. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We're going to talk a little head coaching vacancies, guys. Kevin Stefanski, as it stands today, is still the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Despite that, we saw a report from Josina Anderson yesterday suggesting that Bill Belichick could have at least one person in the upper management level of the Browns front office who is interested in him. That report, Zach Jackson said he hadn't heard of anything, but Josina put that out there yesterday. Also yesterday, Bill Barnwell from ESPN ranked the 8 potential head coaching vacancies in terms of the most appealing to least appealing, and let's see how those rankings fell out. He had the Bengals as the number 1 most appealing potential open head coaching job.
Sadly, they're not going to fire their coach.
Do you think?
I doubt they'll fire him.
Oh, really?
What's he have left on his contract?
I don't know, but he's got at least a year, and they never fire or almost never fire anybody before.
A lot of owners don't want to pay 2 coaches.
Yeah,
Regardless of that,
we're okay with
these
that.
are
Anyway,
just,
but all right,
these are
yes.
potential
Same time, so.
Yeah,
head
potential.
coach openings. The Cardinals still have a head coach. They were listed as number 2. The Browns still have a head coach. They were listed at number 3. The Titans, who already fired their head coach, were at 4. The Giants are 5. They've already fired their head coach. The Falcons, Dolphins, and Raiders all have current head coaches. They're not fired, but that's how he ranked them: 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the 8. And once again, the article is named potential head coach.
I would love to know how he came up with the Browns at 3.
I think he's flipping coins.
I think it's just
That's
subjective,
crazy.
right? Yeah, I think he's looking at the situation. What in the hell does he see that Cleveland is so attractive?
I mean, you start with the quarterback. Any job opening.
Which is why Cincy is number 1.
Start with the yes.
Right.
I agree with that. That's about where
I do too.
That's about as far
After that,
down
the
we-
list to me seems
It's
completely
insane.
arbitrary.
It's totally insane. Why? What is it about the Cardinals that's attractive?
That's what I want to know.
Their quarterback's position's a mess.
Right, they might have to cut Kyler Murray with the same cap hit as the
Exactly.
Yeah,
Cleveland's quarterback position is a mess. The Titans have Cam Ward, who you think is the guy of the future. That should
Right.
be higher up the list. The Giants, Jackson Dart, I don't know how people feel about him. I think it's probably mixed of this guy's going to get killed before he can establish himself. Others may look at him and say, yeah, it's a franchise quarterback, in which case they'd be up the list.
Yeah.
Falcons with Penix, the Raiders are right where they should be. The Browns should be down there with the Raiders.
and the Dolphins.
And the
Same
Dolphins.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
The Raiders could end up with the
here-
number
G,
1
G,
pick.
before you go, real quick.
It's different obviously G has the most faith in Shedeur Sanders in the
Nah,
group. So
I wasn't even going that
Well,
route.
do you
Go
want me
ahead,
to read
go
you
get to
real
it.
quick? It's a whole long thing on each team, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But you want to read the little synopsis?
I would guess that Miles Garrett and the
at least
young
the Browns?
draft picks.
It is
two number one picks,
once
the
again,
high-
it's
Yeah.
like 1,000 words on each team, but this is the best summary of why he had the Browns at number 2. And this is what Bill Barnwell wrote, and I quote: "The good news is that Andrew Berry's 2025 draft was a hit. Graham has flashed on the interior. Judkins might be the best back in the class. Schlesinger is a deserved favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Harold Fenton Jr. has made an immediate impact at tight end. Dylan Sampson has been an explosive player in situational roles. The only players who haven't been quite as impressive are the quarterbacks, but it's a solid class and a much-needed boost. Plus, the Browns have a ton of draft capital coming up and an owner who's willing to spend as much as needed."
He didn't even mention Miles Garrett.
I mean,
Oh, he did in other parts. I'm just reading
okay.
the little. It's
Okay.
1,000 words on each team. I'm not going to read
Yeah.
you guys
I
1,000
got
he
it.
ignored the fact that the owner's a meddler.
when you have a $130 million dead cap hit on a quarterback who can't play,
Yeah.
That's
the elephant in the room.
How can you and ownership that has been this horrendous?
So here's
how can you possibly have that?
Go
job
ahead.
listed that
Here's
high?
the thing. First of all, we do this all the time. Good job, bad job, not good job. Listen, we got to start taking ourselves out of regular sports talk and talk about real life. These are one of 32 jobs in the entire universe.
Right, but it's a ranking, G.
Hold on.
We got to have them in order.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Chances are, if the team is getting fired, right? If the coach got fired before you, what does that mean? That chances are you weren't a good team and don't have a quarterback. So when people be saying, I did this quarterback situation, all of these teams have no guaranteed quarterback.
Joe Burrow?
No,
I'm
Cincinnati
just saying,
does.
but he just told me that he didn't get fired.
Well, but if he's on the list,
So
besides the bank.
So all I'm saying is, generally speaking, when you take over a team, you don't have a good quarterback. So that's a thing. Generally speaking, they're not going to be a great team. So no one is a great landing point. But the thing is, these jobs are lucrative. And if you're a coach, these are alpha males who believe they're the smartest people in the room. That's established.
Yes.
When you look at these rosters, you don't think that people look at certain pieces and parts and say, I can't get more out of him? I think that this guy is good. My evaluation of him is different.
G, but I think the elephant in the room is both what you guys said.
Yeah.
It's the cap handcuffs, but more than that, it's the owner. The owner is meddlesome. He has made mind-boggling mistakes that he has admitted to. Like the Deshaun Watson thing, he's copped to that. I don't know why, because they are alpha males, I don't know why they'd want to turn themselves into a beta male to a billionaire.
Maybe.
Okay, you call the shots.
Everybody thinks that they're different. When we take,
I guess, but if there are other jobs to
there's-
choose
But
from,
there's two different arguments going on
Okay.
here. You're arguing why anyone would take the Browns job. Yeah, it's 1 of 32, and you're going to set your family up for generational
But
money.
if you had an option.
But we're talking about these
Ranking
8 jobs
these jobs.
in particular.
Well, we could get to that.
if this one coach got offered the head coaching job of those 8 teams, in which order would most coaches choose? That's
so here's what I'll say. We take a look at the Bengals, right? You do have Joe Burrow, and that's an attractive job.
Yeah.
But I mean, you say all the time, you go back and forth between who's the worst owner, Jimmy Haslam.
I hate Mike Brown.
Okay,
but the only thing I would say,
he's cheap. He doesn't meddle.
He doesn't meddle.
Hey, some people will take meddle. If you say, you want Dan Gilbert or you want the Dolans.
The Bengals is a pointless argument because there's no coach that would choose the Browns over the Bengals because of Burrow.
Chase. I mean, we haven't even mentioned.
So they got a great
offense. You don't just have an elite quarterback. You have an elite combo.
So forget the Bengals. So for the rest of them.
So the rest of them, take a look at the rest of those people, the things on the list. You take a look at it and you say, okay, who was second? Arizona.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I vehemently disagree with.
That's mind-numbing.
Yeah,
I really like. I think Bill Barnwell, for the most part, usually is spot on.
I like Bill too. He's usually smart. But what did Bill say? Why the Cardinals?
Would you like the little synopsis?
Yes, I would like to hear it.
Yeah. Once again, he wrote 1,000 words on each. I'm reading one paragraph out of it.
Go.
Quote. I'd still argue there's a fair amount to like in Arizona. The Cardinals do have plenty of promising talent on defense, where Josh Sweat has been excellent, and young players like Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, and Garrett Williams have had moments where they've looked like potential standouts. Trey McBride's been spectacular, and though Marvin Harrison and Paris Johnson haven't necessarily lived with their draft position, they should settle in as above-average starters at key positions. GM Monty Ossenford has done a good job adding draft capital, and though there's work to be done on the interior of the line and at linebacker, there's unquestionably young talent.
You're still
comment on their
quarterback
defense because I don't know enough about their defense.
But you also have to take into account, like the Browns do have 2 number 1 picks, so that's going to be appealing. They're going to have a high pick.
He talked about draft capital. It's one extra late first-round pick. What other draft? They have a bunch of fifth-round picks.
No, I mean
that's
valuable.
But very valuable.
If you turn that into a player like Judkins or
I know
the extra one helps. The high one really helps. I think that's why Dorsey took this job. Was they had 2 really high ones when he walked in as a GM. Obviously, that's extremely appealing.
What would your guys' order be? Obviously, we all agree.
It would not be Arizona second.
Run them jewels again. I need to see it.
Let's do 2 through 8. What we would do.
Let's see.
Steve, you take this full whenever you get a chance. But
now remember, there's some other bad owners. The owner of the Dolphins is bad. The owner of the Raiders is bad.
I think the Giants' job is a better job.
Who's the second best job? I don't know that there's a clear answer to who's the second best job.
I like the Giants. I do
like
because I like Jackson Dart. Now, the point that I think it was Jay or one of you guys made, the big question with him is he going to Grady Sizemore himself? Is he going to run himself right into early retirement? He might.
What's the second board? Can we see the second board again?
I think the Giants were 5, weren't they?
Giants 5.
I like them.
So to me, the Browns, Dolphins, and Raiders are 6, 7, 8. Whatever order you want to put it to me.
You tripping?
I'll give you that too.
You tripping on that? You know how you tripping?
Right.
Here's why you tripping.
Right.
If I'm a new coach, right? Everybody knows that if you are a new head coach, you get to draft a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at this position, I say, all right, well, Jimmy Haslam, he meddled a little bit, but he's going to spend some money. Let me take a look at the draft assets. Okay, well, cool. They got 2 first-round picks. They got a plethora of them other picks, right? And they got Deshaun Watson. They're going to keep him on the roster. That's cool. He coming off the books after that. I got that cap space coming off after next year.
No, there's still a lot of cap.
No, it doesn't.
But listen, what I'm saying is...
stuck with, was it 3 years?
What I'm saying is, at 27, what is the cap hit?
Depends on how
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
It depends on how they structure it, if they restructure it again, if they cut them, if they keep them.
But what's
my argument is this. Okay, well, look, if you want to play Shedeur Sanders, what if the owner is a meddler and says, you're going to play Shedeur in 26? Yeah. If he just says that. Okay, play him. If you don't play well, guess what? They're definitely drafting a quarterback. I'm telling you right now,
there are coaches who will want nothing to do with Shedeur.
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's fine.
Eliminate the Browns right away.
Well, here's the thing. That's fine. What I'm talking about is the situation of why it's a asset, because if there's coaches that say I don't want nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders, well, in that case, you might not want to be no coach then. Go be an offensive coordinator. It's only one of so many jobs. So what I'm doing? Would your order be? So what I'm doing is I say, okay, if you want to play him and he don't turn out to be good, I could go get Arch Manning or one of the best quarterbacks in the draft.
Be in position to do that.
Oh, listen. Here's what I'm saying. But I can still
put us through another 15 losses.
Hey, listen. I'm just extrapolating.
All right, who would you have second?
If the Browns at 6, 7, and 8 is wild. They at least in the mid tier just because of who they got on their roster.
Who's number 2 for you? I'm going with Giants.
I would take the Giants because the Giants have a bad record this year. That's a high pick.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart, I may like him a little bit too. And I'm like, okay, I got Jackson Dart. Scatterboo got hurt a little bit. I do like their pieces on the defensive line. They got some different things that they can work with. And it's a big market. It's a major market. It's the Giants.
And they got the number one pick right now.
Yeah,
And
that's why I like the Giants. The big market, the pick, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I ultimately think of the other 7 teams, besides the Bengals, the best, if I had to choose a quarterback from those 7 rosters going forward, I would take Cam Ward. Even with as bad as it's been this year, I would take Cam Ward.
I would too.
Over any of the other quarterbacks on those teams.
Over Jackson Dart.
But I would.
But Tennessee,
I'd take Cam Ward too.
Tennessee ownership, I don't know. Like
Tennessee
feels like not much higher up.
Tennessee ownership decided Mike Vrabel wasn't the answer.
Honestly, you could argue.
That's all you need to know about Tennessee
Honestly, you
ownership.
could argue that all 7 of those other teams, it could be in any order. I really think you could.
And you know what's also, if you call that list up again, one thing that jumps out is, and this is why they're bad teams, one of the things that immediately jumps out is ownership, with the exception of the Giants. The Giants, up until the last decade, have been known as a pillar of great ownership.
I mean, they fire a lot of people too.
Arthur Blank, no, they do.
They fire a lot of people.
Listen, the last decade, the Giants have looked like the Jets.
I actually think Arthur Blank's a good owner.
He is, but Arthur's a guy that is down on the sidelines. That's what I'm going to say about Arthur.
Okay.
I just don't like that. I don't like that look. I think he's far too involved. He came out and made all these comments about why they drafted Penix after they signed. I thought that, to me, when they did that,
was kind of crazy.
I just said, wait a minute. You just spent how much money on Kirk Cousins, and then you draft a quarterback at number 8 or wherever they took him?
I could be talked into moving the Browns ahead of the Falcons.
And by the way, let's just keep it a buck, man. We talk about Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward. He ain't put up numbers. He ain't look like
Not judging by numbers.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Michael Penix don't even be looking. You tell me Michael Penix is that much crazier than Shedeur Sanders? No. You see, is Cam Ward that much crazier than Shedeur Sanders? No. Like, people just elevate.
You would take Shedeur
the
Sanders
difference with both
Cam
those
Ward?
guys is they were first-round picks.
Michael, listen, I'll take Shedeur over Michael Penix any day.
No, but Cam Ward.
Twice on Sunday.
But Cam Ward.
I think it's comparable. I think Cam Ward has a little bit better arm talent.
So
but
who do you think is going to be better in the NFL if you had to bet right now?
It all depends. I mean, look, it's right now. If I'm making an argument of a guy that got taken in the first round, number 1 overall, and I can make the argument of a guy that's in the 5th round, what you think? Like, that's, if it's even comparable, that's wild, right?
All right.
It
I don't
is,
think
but
it's
he was
comparable.
also going into the draft widely looked at as the 2nd pick.
I'm just
And
saying.
then he just
You had it
plummeted
right the
like
first
a
time.
stone.
The Browns are one of the 3 worst jobs.
Nah.
I would agree with
Between
that,
the
too.
cap, the owner,
But
the quarterback
Mike,
situation.
what do you say about that?
Nah, but look at the
How
rest
I
of your
rank him?
talent.
Yeah, like whatever. First of all, I think we don't have to
No.
rate them 1 through 8, but are the 3 of us right on saying that the Browns is the 6, 7, or 8 job? Stop.
I have him at 5.
Okay.
I think you could argue over the
could
Falcons.
put them in at 5.
You could
Yep.
put 5.
And
I
you
would.
look
I'm
at
definitely
Denzel
not going
Ward,
higher.
Miles
I'm
Garrett.
not putting them ahead of the
Got
Giants,
a lot of young
the Titans.
talent.
Atlanta's ahead of
To
Cleveland.
me,
The
you know what,
Titans-
guys,
If you're an NFL head coach and you have your choice between Arthur Blank
yeah,
in
you're going to
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
or Cleveland and
Yeah,
Jimmy
no
has
question.
them,
No
every
question.
one of them will take
Yeah,
Atlanta.
The
no question.
Titans?
Yeah, no question.
The Titans ain't got nobody else.
The Titans'
have-
ownership, though, is
Titans
horrendous.
have unlimited cap space this summer.
Right.
Another top pick. You could change that roster around if you think Cam Ward's good. You can turn that roster around.
I like Cam more than I like the organization.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So
I would agree with
the
that.
organization.
I just
Cam would bring him up.
But
the
to me, the
organization
bad
would bring it down.
ownership, that's who you're dealing with every day. Who is your boss?
They fired-
how's your mood at work? Well, who's your boss?
They fired
What's
Mike
your
Vrabel.
relationship with your boss?
They fired Mike Vrabel.
They didn't fire Mike Vrabel. They ran Mike Vrabel out of town.
So this is the pillar of this is
I
it.
just said the organization brings them down. I like the quarterback more than I like the organization.
I'm cooking right now. I'm
There have
cooking.
been other good coaches. Like just because you, first of all, and let's be fair about it, Vrabel fell on his face a couple times in the playoffs.
He did.
There was,
But
there
let's be fair about it.
Yeah.
Do you want Mike Vrabel as your coach or what you've had since?
well,
of
Vrabel every
course I'd
time.
have Vrabel,
there was very
but-
much like a power struggle going on in Tennessee between Vrabel
Yes,
and ownership.
the owner came in and told him you're going to take on a co-head coach.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And Mike was never happy. But no, Mike was like, wait, what?
So
Why?
watch this. So the Falcons, right? So the Falcons,
Yeah.
we spent a whole offseason talking about why they gave Kirk Cousins that money and then drafted a quarterback.
Yeah, that was silly to me. That
What
made
are we
no
doing?
sense.
So, the reason
I can name 50 things they've done under Jimmy Haslam that are ludicrous.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Well, you're
giving.
naming one thing.
I'm just giving you you want me to give it to you?
You want me to give you the list of all the idiotic things the
Hey,
Browns have
listen.
done?
I'm just saying. If for all these model organizations,
If you could have either Arthur Blank or Jimmy Haslam on the Browns, who would you take?
I mean, I would probably take Arthur Blank.
Okay,
but
so
let's not act like Arthur Blank did not. Who drafts at 8? You just guaranteed that man how many millions?
Gee, I can't. But again,
you're talking about one mistake.
That's a huge mistake.
Look at the Johnny Manziel and
we got
Shawn
a million
Watson and all the things that have Haslam's fingerprints all over.
All I'm trying to do is get him to 4. I ain't got to have him at 6, 7, 8. I'm just saying this now. I'm just
Can
trying to get him to 4.
I pivot because there was one other part of this conversation that we haven't touched on yet, and I want to get the answers on all of this.
I do not even believe the report, honestly.
I don't either. That's a separate issue.
No way in a million years would I want Bill Belichick to be.
That's what I wanted to get to.
He's a complete clown now.
Let's just assume that Josina's report is correct, and there is someone in the Browns organization that really likes him. With the way she's talked about the Browns, I find it impossible to believe somebody from the Browns is talking to her. She has discredited herself recently in a way that her colleagues in the business, some of the things they have said to me about her are mind-blowing. Her credibility right now is not at...
Now, she definitely talks to players. We know that.
She does have
But
insight.
I don't buy that she's talking to somebody in the front office.
But even if she... Let's say this report is true.
Okay.
First of all, can you imagine an executive saying that to a reporter? I really like Bill Belichick. But to me, there is a 0.0% chance that Bill Belichick comes to Cleveland.
I mean...
And I know he wants the record...
I would not.
Big thing.
I would not say 0.0.
Well,
only because
0.001 because it's the Browns.
You're dealing with lunatics on both sides.
You're right. Yeah. It's the Browns.
So you can never rule anything. Can you imagine? Like, as if this organization hasn't done enough to itself.
We need that on our drama bingo
card. Hey, bring Jordan Hudson onto the field pregame.
Let's go.
Put her in brown and orange and let her strut all over the field.
Can you imagine?
While Shedeur and his brother are Instagramming on one end and Jordan Hudson's on the other Instagramming. Like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Hey, guys.
Come on.
Guys, what y'all got to understand is, I don't understand. Like, these owners are going to do whatever they want.
Yes.
That's how they going to move. Like, this is just what it is. Maybe it's just me, but rich dudes who's like 70 literally be doing a bunch of stuff that they want.
What have we said for
they don't
years?
care.
Jimmy gets what Jimmy wants.
I've
said that since we started the show. If Jimmy wants it, Jimmy
gets it. The reason I have the number so low, I just don't think Bill would do it. Bill knows.
If it's his only chance?
I don't think it would be his only chance.
Nobody wanted him last year.
I don't.
Bill is in North Carolina for a reason.
Bill wants the record.
Yes.
Everybody that's close to Bill has said Bill talks about that. That is important to Bill. So if you assume that that's true, and I do.
Yeah.
I assume that he wants to coach in the NFL again.
Of course.
Let's face it. Things did not go well in North Carolina.
Who's going to hire? Outside of maybe the lunatics up the street.
I don't know, but you know what?
Who would hire him?
P.T. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute.
McNuggets.
I'm not sure that Arizona, Tennessee.
These conversations be funny. That's like you sitting around with your buddies and you talking about how bad Supermodels is. Listen, if Supermodel pull up on you, you taking the Supermodel. I don't care if she got a bad attitude. She only take a shower 2 times a week. She's still a Supermodel. Right. What I'm talking about is
still Bill Belichick.
No, I'm saying Bill Belichick would 1,000% take the Browns job because it's a Browns job.
It's a job in the NFL.
It's a job in the NFL. We're taking that. So would I want Bill Belichick? No. We're past that, fellas.
Yeah.
He's at North Carolina for
I don't want John
reason.
Gruden either.
No.
That's the other name that keeps coming up.
We got to find. I keep trying to tell you. You better find.
The splash.
You have to find. You gotta put your own work in Alonzo from training day. Hey, would you smoke this food for me? Nah, bro. You gotta put your own work in here. The Browns got to find their own quarterback, their own receivers, their own head coach, and their own GM. You can't keep coming around with retreads trying to find a quick way to get it done. You're going to have to give some money, an opportunity to a new coach, and just pray it's the right one. That's the only way it's going to work.
You know, one of the things that the NFL, we always talk about the code in the NFL. And when I was working in Tampa, I got a call on a Saturday night from the nicest restaurant in town. The maitre d' called me. He had my cell number. He called me. He's like, Jay, Bill Parcells is having dinner right now with the Glazers. And I'm like, what? He said, listen, man, I'm confirming it. You've known me for how long? Mm-hmm. And so we did some digging, and we made some calls, and nobody would deny it. So we went with the report. And it became such a big deal that the next day, on all the Sunday pregame shows, but Tony Dungy was still coaching the Buccaneers. The next day, Bill Parcells releases a statement that says, I am not interested in the Buccaneers coaching job. I was later told that whole story getting out most likely kept him from becoming the Buccaneers' next head coach.
So
It's my fault.
it's your fault?
It's the maitre d's' fault.
That's true.
We were just doing our job.
Yeah.
But it was later confirmed that he was indeed in town and he did indeed have dinner with the Glazers and they were talking about the job. Now, the code in the NFL is you never talk about another man's job. But it's also, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, rarely will you hear someone within an organization mention another coach's name when that job is still occupied. And that's what we have with this report. Kevin Stefanski is still the head coach of the Browns. I cannot imagine that there is an executive in this organization that is dumb enough to tell a reporter, hey, we still like Bill Belichick. We like Bill a lot. I can't imagine that could happen.
There are some dumb people in
that's why it's the Browns. So you never know.
There are executives that participated. Hey, bro, I need you to text this man down there, and you need to put Johnny Manziel in. If that happened, all bets are off.
But I'm trying to tread very carefully. No, but like how do these? It first of all, a lot of this depends on the reporter, and the reporter's how much risk a reporter is willing to take, if that makes sense. Because you may have a one-on-one conversation with somebody in the Browns, and a lot of times, like a lot of the conversations we have are very informal. Like it's just like we're talking now.
Is there a gray area? Because I was confused by this. Is there always an on the record, off the record? There a lot of times there isn't.
It's always off.
Unless you're told.
Okay, so there's on the record, off the record background. Right. So,
yes.
So there's levels to this, and there are. I mean, I'll have conversations with people who will say something to me like, "Listen, you can't repeat this under any circumstance.
That's completely off the record.
You can't use this.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you so you know."
For background. Yeah.
And then there's other things. Most of what we get is, yeah, you can use this, but don't ever put my name on it.
Sure.
That's the majority of it. But
Right.
then that's why I said it depends on who the reporter is, because I have conversations with people all the time who say, I talked to such and such at this organization and they told me this.
Right.
So these guys talk all the time. So you could talk to somebody from the Jaguars who talked to somebody in Cleveland. You could be on the phone with somebody from the Jaguars who says, well, I just talked to such and such with Cleveland and they really like X. Because there's constantly conversations going on about this.
So you think
stuff.
it could have been like secondary?
It could have been secondhand. Yeah. And then it comes down to the reporter. Like, I was just having this conversation with Mike. I can't use that. Like, our standards are so high now.
As they should be.
With what you can and can't use.
Yeah.
If we get secondhand information, we can't go with it.
Unless you verify it through another source.
Yeah. Through a more direct one-to-one source.
And Jay, I know it's strict, but I like that.
I've had information secondhand that I know it's 100% accurate. I know it.
Right.
But because I can't get the one-to-one, I haven't been able to use it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. But
That is tough.
This is why I would never sign up willfully be a journalist. Like it's too taxing. It's frustrating. You got to jump through hoops. I got to get it. It's almost like, dang, bro, I got to be a defense attorney at the same time.
And by the way, these people are human and they change their mind.
Right. Now, right.
Yeah. So you
and
can
then
report
you.
And then we look like because take Shedeur for example. So Jimmy came out and told you Friday night when we left the building Friday night, we were not taking Shedeur. Now imagine a reporter having a conversation with Jimmy Friday night, and Jimmy tells them, we're not taking Shedeur.
Got you.
And so you write,
got you.
Browns are not taking Shedeur. Saturday morning, somebody wakes up, changes their mind,
and you're
the one that looks like you don't know what you're talking about.
You're not going to call you and say, hey, we changed our mind.
Because these guys are human, and sometimes they change their mind.
And then you got to moonwalk,
and then things change. And that's why sometimes, and this will come out, give me 5-6 months, and we'll revisit this conversation, because things happen with teams and sports, and you hear about them 3 months in advance. And Mike knows this because I had a phone call when we were in Maine on the beach, when Leslie and I were in Maine. And I got a phone call and said, I am not dealing with this poop right now. Like, it is too early to be doing this stuff. So then you just sit and you wait and see how things play out. And unfortunately, it's playing out exactly like the phone call I got in Maine said it would. So now just sit tight and wait.
Wait for it to happen.
And if Nostra Jason Amos is right, we're going to have a very interesting summer.
That's a crazy tease too. That's a 6-month tease. Usually you teasing like to the next segment,
next week.
Like next week, that's a 6-month tease.
Coming up in June.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to pivot, talk a little Cavs. We'll get back to the Browns in about 10 minutes. Our Cavs topic today is brought to us by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, guys, the Cavs are playing the Chicago Bulls again tonight. They are back home after dropping Wednesday's contest to Chicago by 16. It was an ugly, ugly game on Wednesday. That followed up an ugly loss to Charlotte on Friday. On Sunday, it followed up an ugly win against Washington the previous Friday, where they needed a superhuman performance from Donovan to pull out a win over the lowly Washington Wizards. Jason, I know this sounds ridiculous.
Can we take you full for this? Because I want to see if you can read this with a straight face.
I am being genuine when I ask
I know
this
you
question.
are. I just want to see your entire face as you're
Steve,
reading
take
this.
me full. Jason, it is December 19th. The Cavs are 15-13. And I am genuinely asking if tonight's game feels like a must-win versus Chicago.
Obviously, it's absurd to say an NBA game on December 19th is a must-win game, obviously. Now, I do think that there is a significant amount of pressure mounting within the organization for this thing to turn much sooner than later. So to that end, I see where Mike's coming from with this. But is tonight going to determine whether or not the Cavs win a championship in June? No. So therefore, I can't say.
You can say it's urgent.
We have reached an urgency level.
Yeah.
In this season, like that's not you. I don't think that's debatable at this point.
Jay, what is going on?
They're a mess.
Why?
Weave your way through it.
Can I make as strictly as an observer? If your name's not Donovan Mitchell, and even Donovan in Chicago, I thought at times looked like he was completely disinterested. To me, it feels like I'm watching a team that doesn't care.
Well, Jalen Tyson, let's give him credit. He's playing with a lot of intensity.
I'm talking about
nobody else.
You're right.
Nobody
I love
else.
the way that.
Yeah.
That is the equivalent of Carson Schlesinger playing well on the Browns.
And he's the only one.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one. Right. You need the pillars. And when I watch the pillars, and I understand that there are injuries, and there have been injuries all along, and some of these are key pieces. But to me, I feel like I'm watching a team that is, disinterested.
Yeah.
And this is the worst part about what I'm going to say. I think they're unaffected by this.
Well, there's definitely a level of
disengagement.
Friction right now.
Between?
All of them.
Individually or the coach?
All of them. Just
really?
all of it. I just think.
It hasn't meshed?
No. It's just, it's not.
How did we get here, though? From where we were last year?
No.
Was it the early playoff loss?
No.
And fingers started getting pointed?
We've been here, guys. We've been here. See, we used last year as a nice little way to make ourselves feel better. We've been here 4 years prior to that. This team is constituted, has never been good enough, and we do it. Listen, we got here because they doubled down on the core four 3 times. 3 times they've done it. When they showed you, they weren't better than the Knicks, right? And they got embarrassed and out physical. We talked about that. They came back the next year. We made an excuse that said, you know what, the lights were too bright. Then the next year it was the Celtics. Oh, the Celtics were a team of destiny. They had to take their lumps. They was a champion. Yeah, you got embarrassed by them. They came back again. They played the Indiana Pacers, right? They got smoked and embarrassed, out physical, out hustled, and just looked out of shape in certain times, right? You've saw this team for 3 iterations lose to teams that are nowhere near winning a championship. Now we're here.
So was that the breaking point? Because we hadn't seen that in the regular season like this.
But we haven't seen what Jason's describing as friction between players.
They got along well last year.
I wouldn't say it's just the entire organization.
Like
they're in the mud.
They're not on the same page.
It is all stuck.
And this hasn't been like this before. So
well, the
something
Dan
is
Gilbert
led to
I
this.
remember, and I know that he's different today, but the Dan Gilbert I remember has to be looking at this where he's got the highest payroll in the NBA. He's got all these max players. He's got this team that was the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. He can't be sitting around just twiddling his thumbs, even though he has been far less involved. I would think that there's got to be a move made. Is that a trade? Does a coach get fired? What's going on?
That'd be wild if the coach got fired half a season after he won Coach of the Year.
It's hard for me to even say that, but when I watch these guys, it's obvious they need a major shakeup, and you can make a major shakeup by moving Darius Garland. You can do that.
But can they?
But no, I don't know that they're. But yesterday I read that there are teams interested in Darius Garland.
Come on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I did read that yesterday.
Aren't we supposed? Is this where we're supposed to talk? I saw it on the rundown somewhere. Are we doing that in the TV show or?
No, we talk all the Cavs you want here.
I mean, Darius and Jared's value is extremely low.
See, I agree with that too.
It's extremely
low.
But
when I see that there are teams that are wondering about Darius Garland, it makes me think, well, there could be a sucker.
Remember the conversation we just had in the last segment?
I do. Yeah, I know. I knew that.
Let me ask you this, Jason, and Mike, because I think this is an important question. At this point, are things bad enough that, and I don't even know if you could do this cap-wise. I know with the extra apron, it's second apron, whatever. So if I'm wrong, just correct me. But is it to a point where you might just need to trade somebody just to change the chemistry? Like for young players or even for draft picks? Yeah. Even if it means the team's worse now.
Well, that's the issue is can
that even be done?
You can't be in the second apron if you're barely a playoff team.
It's hard to make a trade it's hard to make a trade that gets this team better. Now, I'll go back.
So maybe they need to make a trade that just changes the team.
And they did that in 2018. Like, they gutted the entire – and I didn't think they could. They pulled that whole roster apart, and it wasn't necessarily that they were better on the other end of it. They just had to get rid of some of the personalities and they had to change the mood of that of that team.
So are we there again?
I don't know. Like, that was a LeBron toxic thing. Like, people, that was all about LeBron's last year in Cleveland and everything. This is much different than that. I mean, there are guys that I think that it would be helpful to move, but I don't know that you're not gonna get value for them.
You chose wrong.
But maybe you just have to do it.
Yeah, you're right. I think we bet on the wrong horses.
You bet. You hear it. Like, Darius Garland is a max player. You had to max him because at the time he was playing a certain level. You didn't have any other options. He's a max player on paper only. Jared Allen gets a lot of money to be a role player. He's never going to be a guy that moves the needle. And then you had to give Evan Mobley a max deal. And then the year that it dropped, the way the collective bargaining agreement worked, he actually was Defensive Player of the Year, made all these awards, and then they had to super max him. So now you got Evan Mobley on a strained calf who is a really good player. He's not a max type player that's going to help you. And so what you look and you see right now, you have the remnants of a team that is stuck in a place where their best player is Donovan Mitchell. He's always going to be their best player. He's the one with the mentality, and he's sitting here like, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you're not doing nothing.
I think losing Ty really hurt him. Really hurt him.
Yeah.
I think Ty overplayed his hand a little bit in negotiations, or Ty's representation overplayed his hand a little bit in negotiations. That was a big loss for him. I think the Hunter trade, in hindsight, is going to hurt them more than it helps them.
What's happened to him?
I mean,
he looks like a shell of himself.
No defense.
So the Hunter move is what put them into the second apron and what caused a lot of these problems.
Right.
And I think we're going to look back on this as last year was the best chance to win a championship with this team.
I think you're right.
And because now they're into that second apron because of the Hunter trade.
Yeah.
And he had, if I described to you, he's long and athletic, he defends, he can shoot threes, you would say, and that's what we were going off of, is like, wow, bring him in. This is great. This is exactly what they need.
We've seen him be effective.
And the trade got them out of the tax last year. Like, it was a great move. But now you're starting to see a little bit with DeAndre Hunter, maybe why Atlanta was willing to give up on a 6'5"
being exposed.
They traded his best friend.
Well, they didn't trade him.
They didn't sign him.
Well, they didn't sign. I get it. But they chose Sam Merrill over Ty Jerome.
Well, Ty made them choose Sam. They wanted Ty. Ty was the priority. And I think Ty's side messed that up.
By the way, Ty hasn't played this year.
Yeah.
Ty and I have the exact same amount of minutes played in the league. He's been hurt, he was hurt the year before. He was really good last year.
Does the goal now have to be to get out of the second
What's that? I'm sorry.
Does the goal now have to be, more than anything else, to get out of the second apron?
I think it does.
Does that have to be the first priority at this point, or are we not at that point yet?
I mean, I think you're pot committed to this.
You're done.
Because you've seen it work last year. You've seen it. I mean, I know they flamed out in the playoffs. I know.
Yeah.
And I know that there was injuries and everything else. But you've seen what this team is capable of. This may not be popular. I think you just have to ride it out. I don't know what the other option
Why
is.
couldn't you
Jason
trade,
Lloyd is right.
Why can't you trade Darius, even if it means you're worse?
Who's going to take him? He's got $100 million.
Nobody would want him. Nobody would want him.
He's got a bad toe. He's an
bad
undersized
contract.
point
Mike,
guard
did you see the
who's
report that
always
I saw
hurt
that there
and
were
doesn't
teams-
play defense.
Who
He's
were
got
the
$100
teams
million
that were
left.
interested? Were they mentioned?
So, yeah, Jason and I did this on the Cavs show on Tuesday. If you want
Okay.
more, because we got Ted Nugent 1 sec, so we got to wrap in a minute, and we'll bring Ted in.
Ted
But-
Nugent.
Ted
Nugent
Wynn,
then?
sorry, Ted Wynn. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
like,
sorry,
hold
sorry.
on.
Ted Nugent, former linebacker.
Let's
Ted,
rock
my bad. I
on.
know you're listening. My bad, Ted.
Ted Wynn.
Ted Nugent's a singer.
It was the Wizards, the Timberwolves, and the Magic. The
Okay.
Timberwolves make the most sense. I've gone through the trade machines. Like, none of the deals really make sense if you're trying to get even quasi-value back for Darius.
Who cares?
Well,
I
maybe
was
they're
saying
just
change
trying to get out of the
chemistry.
second apron.
Fine, but you still have to take back money in some regard to put that deal in where it could actually work. Because Minnesota's right against the second apron. They can't
Yeah.
take on a lot of
I
extra
mean,
money.
I said it after the
Desmond Bain
season.
trade. Orlando can't take on extra money. The Wizards can, but what do you want back from the Wizards?
Nothing.
Mike,
Nothing.
you and Jason keep, and maybe you're right.
You're trying to win a championship.
They can't win a championship.
What-
We know that.
So you got to ride it
Adam,
out.
It's December 19th.
You
You're
got to
in the
ride it
middle
out.
Of this.
Bull,
you
there's
can't
no,
start
bull,
a
there's
rebuild
no,
now.
It's like buying a car, and then one year when you buy a brand new car, you say, I want to take it
and
back.
by the way,
I feel like-
they don't have any control over their picks for the next 5 years.
They're done.
hear you.
They're done.
So you have got to.
So what I'm saying is, Mike, you keep saying, well, I don't know if you get good value. Of course you're not going to get good value. You need to change the chemistry, though.
But I don't know that.
Even if it-
I don't know that Darius is where I would start to try and change the chemistry.
Okay, so who?
I said after last season I would try and
Jarrett.
trade Jarrett,
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't
So
think
then
there's a
trade
market.
Jarrett.
I don't think there's a
It's
market.
much more feasible.
Give him
for
away.
Jarrett.
But
Give him away.
Jared Allen is making. He's got an extension. Hasn't even started yet. Where he's going to make $30 million. He's a non-shooting big.
You
Give him away.
chose
Give him away
wrong.
to, give him away to
But,
Washington.
and this is the last
draft
thing we got to
picks.
get Ted in here.
Yeah.
It's not easy just to give away because all these teams are already up against cap
Well,
restrictions.
but
too.
Washington.
Washington has to want him.
Why would Washington
Yeah.
Why would
want
Washington
Jared
do that?
Allen?
You're
So,
right.
all right, we got to
You're
guess.
right.
The
We got
Cavs,
to
by the
bring
way, are
in.
3-7 in their last 10.
I mean, this
Like-
was a 6-game stretch here where Mike and I on
They
our
should have won.
podcast-
They should have won all.
Five
of
is
them.
five
At
is
least
6.
five.
You got to win
Go
5
ahead,
or 6.
Mike.
And
Let's
they're
bring
1
in our
and 2.
guest here.
Yeah, just we're heading over to KYC at 12:30. If you know the WKYC app, you can download the WKYC app, so you get 30 minutes and ever before seen content coming up in 28 minutes. And with that, we're thrilled to welcome in film analysis expert from The Athletic, Ted. How you doing today, Ted?
Doing well. How are you guys?
What's
and
up,
by the
buddy?
way, every once in a while, somebody mistakes me for Ted Nugent on Twitter, and they're like, "Why is Ted Nugent giving out football takes?"
That's hand up my bed, Ted. Hand up my bed.
Not only
Ted, what you should do is start playing the guitar and singing
Yeah,
heavy,
that's true.
heavy acid
I
rock.
should.
Not only did Mike
Yeah.
screw up your name originally, but then when he brought you in, he purposely didn't say your last
Yeah,
name.
he just left it at
I
Ted.
did- I did
knew
get
he
a
would
little
screw it up
scared.
again.
Let's have a TED talk.
I got a little scared. That's on me.
I mean, Ted, when you watch the film on Shedeur Sanders, and you know, obviously it's been what 4.5 games at this point. What's it telling you? What are you seeing right now? What do you like? What do you not like?
Yeah, I think even though last game the stats look really bad, obviously, I think Dennis Allen does a phenomenal job of disguising coverage, even though the Bears kind of struggle with their defensive personnel. But I think he's mostly seeing the field well because he's attacking parts of the coverage that he should be, and that came through in those 2 big throws to Isaiah Bond, where he's able to see the coverage rotation and attack deep, where I think a lot of quarterbacks might have missed seeing that space. But right now, I think he's really struggling with dealing with pressure as far as reading blitzes and knowing how to react. And that's not all on him. There's times where he's seeing the blitzes and he wants to throw hot to a certain receiver, but they might not be on the same page. So I think overall, as an offense, they have to have a better pressure plan and they have to be on the same page, because that's where it seems like defensive coordinators are going to try to attack them by just being tricky with their blitzes and sending pressure from unobvious places.
So it sounds like on Shedeur early returns, the good parts of his game are pretty strong, and the bad parts of his game are pretty weak. I mean, it seems pretty extreme. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair. I think, I he has much stronger arm than I give him credit for. I think he's made some throws in his time playing that that takes a lot of arm strength that I was impressed with. That he had to throw off his back foot while getting hit. And I think as far as taking those big sacks, it has happened, but he also is being very intentional with stepping up in the pocket. And I thought late in that game, he did a good job of stepping up, even though he was getting hit a lot. So I think he is working on these weaknesses. So it is a positive sign.
Ted, one of the things I look at, and one of the things that we'll talk about as the season goes on, obviously quarterback is a big topic here. But there's two other positions that when I watch the film is very glaring. It's the offensive line and it's the receiving core. In terms of what you've seen on film from the offensive line and the receiving core, if you were going to try to attack that in this year's draft, or you were going to try to remedy that, what would be your main priority if you had to choose between one of those, the offensive line group up front or the receiving core to add weapons?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always going to be the offensive line. I think you always have to prioritize getting the 5 guys that you want to move forward and just getting them playing time together. And I think especially for a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, who can be a little sensitive to pressure, you have to get that offensive line fixed. You have to be able to run the ball, take some of the pressure off of him, and you have to be able to stop the interior pressure where it's going to tempt him to try to run backwards and those sorts of things. So I really think they need to fix the guard positions first of all, and then with the wide receiver positions. They do have some talent to work with. I think Isaiah Bond, like I mentioned, there's some talent there. Jerry Jeudy, we know he could make big plays, but we also know he has kind of a Jekyll and Hyde thing. I think you can work with this receiving group, especially with Harold Fannin. But obviously you want to upgrade. But to me, the priority has to be that line first.
Ted, I'm sure you saw Kirk Cousins talking whatever day it was about progression reads versus coverage reads, and I'm wondering your impression of how the league has sort of evolved with that, and then the second part of that, on top of that, where is Shedeur at that from what you've seen on film in terms of being able to go through his progressions?
Yeah, so I think the big topic right now is progression reads, which are just pure progression. We're going to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and it doesn't really change that much with what kind of coverage you see because defenses are so good at disguising and they hold their disguises all the way up to the last second. And Shedeur saw some of that against Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is a very tricky defensive coordinator that does a lot of disguising, and a couple times he got caught in pure progressions where he was a little slow because of the pure progressions instead of a veteran who might see certain things and cut out 1 to 2 and go straight to 3 to 4. And that happened in that game where he got to 3 or 4 a little late, and it's not really his fault because he doesn't have that experience to be able to cut down on some of that pure progression. So I think to start off a quarterback, I think they have to be in the pure progression game early on, just because you cannot expect them to be able to read these coverages as complicated as they are now. And as they get smarter, as they get more experience, you can do a little bit more specific type of coverage reads. They could cut down on some of their pure progression reads. So it just takes time and it takes experience. And that's one of the things that it's hard for quarterbacks to get now, because as soon as the quarterback really struggles, teams are ready to move on from them, and they don't get that experience and that opportunity to really bank in those reps that they need to be able to move on from pure progressions and get into more coverage reads and mix up how they see defenses.
How does play action play into that when a quarterback has to take his eyes off the scheme and almost turn his back to the defense and then sort of readjust to what he's seeing? You know what I mean? How much does that complicate for particularly a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, who maybe already is having a hard time deciphering what all the defense is doing? Now you're taking your eyes off it for just that split second or 2 seconds.
Yes, so with most play actions, it's pure progression, because with play action, it's like, I'm going to check my deep receiver, or it's going to be this big crosser to my check down. But like you mentioned, when you turn your back to a defense, that coverage picture changes. But when you're trying to throw that ball on time, let's say I'm trying to throw a dig route off of play action on time, I think it's going to be open because it looks like the defense is going to be to cover 3 and that void's going to be there. But as I turn around, what if they change to a Tampa 2 and all of a sudden there's a hole player and I'm already in the middle of my throwing process because I think that hole is going to be there and it's not there, and I have to quickly register that and then go to my check down. So it's all about just seeing it extremely quickly and then moving on to my next read, which is not easy for a young quarterback to do.
Yeah.
We had a conversation earlier in the show, Ted, about the jobs that are coming open in the NFL or that could possibly come open. Some of them we don't even think will be available, but it's all based on a Bill Barnwell piece where he ranked these 8 jobs in terms of which one would be most attractive to which one would be least attractive. And least attractive. I don't know, Mike, if we could call that graphic up again. Cincinnati was the top of that list. We don't know that there's going to be a change there. Will Taylor come back? Who knows? But we all agree that that's a pretty damn attractive job because you've got Jamar Chase and you've got Joe Burrow in an elite wide receiver quarterback tandem. But outside of that, we really couldn't come with any great consensus as to which of the jobs would be second most attractive and third and on and on. There was some general consensus that the Browns, who you see here at 3, would actually be in the bottom 5, 6, 7, 8 of that 2-page graphic. What's your take on this list, and how would you rank them?
I think the Giants should be high up there because you're getting a chance to work with Jackson Dart, who I think has looked really good this season. Obviously, he needs to learn how to protect himself, but he's way more advanced as a passer than even I thought, and I really liked him coming into the draft. And he was able to produce against some good teams. The only hang up with him is obviously the injury part of it, but there's some young talent with the Giants, so I would put them high up on the list as well. I think Cam Ward has played way better than his stats show. He's playing with start receivers that might not start anywhere else in the league, and he's already gone through a second offensive coordinator change. So I think that is a intriguing spot. And I think the Raiders could be an intriguing spot as well because they look like they're in line to get the number 1 pick. So when you're a young offensive coach and you get to handpick your quarterback and really work with them from the basement floor, I think that could be an intriguing opportunity as well.
Interesting. So like us, he would have the Browns on that second page.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a good list. When you said the Raiders, Bull and I kind of looked at each other like, wow, that's interesting. But you do make a great point. If you're certainly quarterback deprived, and if you think Mendoza's the guy, and you get to draft him and work with him, you're not winning in this league without a quarterback. So you could check that box if he ends up being the right guy. Hey, Ted, great stuff. Does anybody else have anything else
No,
before
we're good.
we go?
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Buddy.
Happy holidays to you. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Got it.
Awesome. Check out Ted. He does some great film breakdowns on The Athletic if you want some X's and O's from the All-22.
Yeah.
That's his
I've known
specialty.
Ted
Does a
since
terrific
we
job.
launched. He's based on the West Coast, but he does outstanding job.
Yeah.
with
What's his
film work for
background?
us.
Do you know where he was before
He
he
was
came to the Athletic?
coaching college.
Yeah. He clearly has a background either as a player or as a coach.
Yeah. He sees things that
we don't.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, one last topic to get to, guys. Quick reminder, this week there's a 2-minute warning show. No full watch party. We're going to have one for the Steelers game. This week's just a normal 2-minute warning show. I will not be there, but G and Earl will be holding on the fort with Ant. Make sure you guys tune in at the 2-minute warning. All right, Bo, you texted the group chat last night letting us know that the Guardians signed a reliever who you were very excited about.
Yeah, so I think we've all been frustrated by the Guardians doing nothing to improve their offense. Very fair complaint, which I'll continue to make every day. I will say, though, that this latest move, signing Shawn Armstrong, is another good, move in the bullpen. The Guardians' bullpen right now is very deep. Like, you have 2 or 3 guys that are legit major league relief pitchers that there's no room for them. Yeah. Like, Tim Herron might not make the roster. And he's, I know he struggled last year, but he's been
2
mostly
years ago,
good.
he was a monster for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to make the roster right now. They've added 4 veteran relief pitchers. Well, 3 veterans. Shawn Armstrong's the latest. By the way, for those who may not remember, Shawn Armstrong originally drafted by the Indians.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think it was 2014 maybe.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and he came up in the big leagues with the Indians. Didn't he was parts of like 2-3 seasons, and then he was gone. And he's been well traveled, and he's had his ups and downs. He's had some bad seasons along the way, but for the most part, for the last 4 years, he's been like 3 of the last 4 seasons, he's been real good. And last year, he was sensational. You see it there. He was the Rangers closer at the end of the year. Got 9 saves right at the end of the season. He averaged a strikeout per inning, which I love. Look at that whip. 081.
Yeah, that to me, that's the impressive part.
But even if you look at his career whip, 123 for like a middle reliever type
Not
of
awful.
guy, like that's solid.
That's
That's all
not
right.
awful.
So I'm not saying this is a defining move for the season,
Well,
but it's a nice, solid addition to a very strong pen.
I have
right
a
now.
question for you.
Yeah.
I like the move in a vacuum.
Yeah, they've added Connor Brogdon. They've added Colin Holderman. I know our fan, Justin Brewhill. I know 99.9% of fans never heard of those guys.
And that's
But
okay.
they're all interesting arms, so I like where the bullpen's at.
Well, here's
Can
what I
they
don't
bat?
understand.
No, they can't bat.
I think that really going back to 16 and maybe even a little before that,
Yeah.
it's become a bullpen game. More so now than
Yes.
ever before.
You have to have great depth.
And it just if go back and watch the 2016 World Series if you've forgotten
Yeah, sure.
how those two managers, Madden and Francona, used the bullpen. And they really have revolutionized the game.
100%.
You don't see a starter go 6 innings in a playoff game anymore.
Very rare.
Unless it's the Dodgers had unless he's got
Once
like
in a
one
while,
hitter going.
but
if
it's
you got a
uncommon.
one hitter going and your pitch count's
Yeah.
low, let it ride.
Yeah.
But typically, as soon as there's base traffic,
Gone.
he's out. He's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
It's really
And
where you're at in the order. You get like 2 looks.
That's it.
Max.
That's it. You,
don't
see these 6.
You don't face the middle of the lineup a third time.
Correct.
No, and so
Yeah.
so that I say because of that, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's really a critical part of the game when you get to the postseason. So check on that. I like our bullpen, but to me, you're addressing the strength of your team.
Yes.
What about our lineup?
I hear you. Listen,
make a
I'm
move,
not
make a
excusing.
splash.
I'm not saying this is okay. Like, I'm not good with what they've done as a
Well,
whole.
what's funny is they've tried this before the last 2 years and it
Yeah.
didn't work.
No, I know it did.
So they who was it? It's like
Paul Sewald.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Paul Sewald was coming off a bad year.
And the year prior was they had
the guy
another
from
one.
the Royals.
Yeah.
Barlow,
long hair.
Scott Barlow.
Yeah,
But
Barlow.
again, they both were coming off bad
Yeah.
years.
I mean,
Well,
Shawn
you know,
Armstrong,
they do that because they're like, hey, we can get a guy on the cheap.
Yeah.
But Sean,
That's it. Say that. That's it.
That's it.
No,
That's
that's
why
it.
You got to take. But here's what you do with the bullpen, Jason. You know this. You take
You
as
load
many
up,
cracks
yes.
as you can.
Yep. Because it's so
And that's
volatile.
what-
It's so volatile
Let me
year
make
to
it very
year.
clear. I'm not saying this is like some world-beating move.
No, I know.
I just think it's a good, solid move.
There's a reason he was available for a 1-year deal at $5.5 million.
Yeah.
Because he's 35.
Right.
Yep.
And the volatility of year
Yeah,
to year,
he
you know.
could stink this year, no doubt.
But he did he sort of tweaked his repertoire
Yes.
last year. He started throwing a sweeper more often, and it really sort of changed the type
Yeah.
of pitcher that he
Yeah.
was, particularly over the second half, which you saw in the whip, the 0.81 whip
Yeah.
is. I didn't realize it was that low. His
Yeah.
second half was outstanding.
Incredible,
Last year.
yeah.
Now, if you get that back next year, you've got an
Huge.
unbelievable deal for
In a
$5.5
vacuum,
million.
it's a great
And
move.
you're trying.
I just-
You're just trying to shorten the game, as you pointed out. You're trying to shorten the game to get
And
to
I
the
like
bullpen
that.
as fast
I
as
like
possible.
that.
If
But to me-
signing him means you don't sign a hitter, then I hate it.
Well,
but you shouldn't. that
I
shouldn't
think
be.
what it's doing is,
Yeah.
though, I think it's putting too much emphasis on what you're going to serve for dessert before you figure out
Well,
what
Agreed.
your
I mean,
entree's gonna
here's
be.
the thing. I don't know this. I think this is obvious. But not like anyone's told me this. I'm just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They want DeLauder and Valera in the lineup every day,
and they should.
and
And the two of them and Kafis will be on the roster opening day.
I would think so. I don't think we're doing the
I think it's
contract
interesting,
manipulation and
under
all
the
that.
radar, all three of them changed their numbers to like normal baseball numbers.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
tells
Yeah,
me
so
they're
they're not
probably
minor
gonna be-
league players.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so if you have Manzardo, Kafis, I don't know how you can count on Chase DeLauder to be healthy the whole year. I think that's a mistake.
No. Yeah.
He's never been healthy his entire career.
Right.
But
Why
I'll
is he
say that
suddenly-
if he plays 90
But
games,
he-
he'll
if
probably
he's
be
healthy,
good in those 90
if he's
games.
healthy, he needs to be in the
What
lineup.
about Pizzana? Is he in that?
He'll
in that
be
list?
he'll be
June.
that will be a contract manipulation,
Yes.
I
Sure.
think.
I
And
think so,
and
too.
he probably does need the at bats because he missed so much time last year.
Right.
So I hate what's going on at shortstop. It's abysmal. But
You could
it is
still
what it
add a
is.
center field. Like my buddy, I mentioned this
DeLauder
yesterday.
might be the center fielder.
I mentioned this yesterday, guys, that I'm driving in yesterday and I'm listening to MLB radio, and they talked about John Kenzie Noel being designated for assignment.
Yeah.
And Mike Ferrin, who's a friend of mine, was doing the show, and he goes, and they started talking, after the John Kenzie thing, they were talking about, okay, so who's some potential center fielders the Guardians could sign? And they're going through a list of names, and I'm like, ugh. And then Mike Ferrin goes, I know my buddy Adam the Bull, great sports talker. He's not happy right now.
Well,
and I texted him, because like the names are not, the best name they had was Harrison Bader, who's,
Are you, first of all, are you convinced Stephen Kwan's going to be on this team opening day?
I'm not.
I'm not either. In fact, if I had to place a bet right now, I think it's more likely that he's not than he is.
So there's still,
the Dodgers have not given up on him.
There's still moves to come, I think. But as of now, as we sit here now, I think Chase Lauder's a center fielder, which, again, you're putting more wear and tear on a guy.
In a perfect world, they would add a center fielder, play Chase Lauder in right.
Valera.
And then you use Valera and Kafis.
Manzardo.
DH at Manzardo's got to play every day.
That's what I'm saying. So I think you want all those guys in the lineup every day. Manzardo, Kafis, Valera.
I don't have if they're gonna play them young dudes.
I need a proven player in the lineup.
If they're gonna play all the young dudes, I would be like, cool, play the young dudes and let's see if they got something. At least if you ain't gonna spend no money, at least I can see what these young dudes talking about.
You know what? Then go get a shortstop, which is not
I'm
easy
with
to do.
You.
But
I don't like any of the options at short. I mean, all of these guys before their injuries were like. Valera was a top prospect, top 2-3 prospect in the organization. He's had a ton of injuries.
DeLauder was their best
DeLauder
prospect.
was number one. He's had a ton of injuries.
There.
So Kafis is probably the lowest ranked of all of them. But so there is a lot of potential with these guys. You got to see it. I would like to have seen him. I know he's on the downside. I mean, the Phillies got Adolis Garcia for $10 million. Like that's to me is a bargain. But I know like they don't want to block the path of the young guys.
I don't know. I'm not a believer in him, but
he's better. If you want a veteran bat for $10 million,
I want to spend more than $10 million. They should. They got plenty of payroll space.
What about picking some of these kids, placing bets, and using some of the other ones that you're not as convinced are going to be major leaguers, and using them as pieces in draft for trades?
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick a horse. I just don't know how you bet on DeLauder. He's got a ton of potential.
But you know what? In Cleveland's luck, they'll trade him to St. Louis and he'll have 7 straight All-Star seasons.
Speaking of which, there's been rumors of the Guardians being interested in Brandon Donovan,
who
I like.
That would be a great. He'd be a great fit,
and he could play any position. So, like, you could start him at second base in the beginning of the year, and let's say Bazana's ready to go. Well, now I can move him to the outfield.
Yeah.
He can play almost any position.
And there's value in that because if you've got all these kids that you want to get
veteran hitter, he probably wants to get the hell out of the Cardinals because they're rebuilding.
Jay, and I know that's kind of a bad word, but this platoon thing that we're seeing,
I hate it.
I hate it too.
Nasty
I want
work.
it to go away, and I want it to go away
don't mind it if it's in one spot, but they have it in like 4 spots.
It's like our playbook now.
Yeah.
It's our playbook,
it's
and
terrible.
I don't think I could be wrong. I'm just guessing. I think that's more front office and analytic driven.
Yes.
2 for 1.
I just hate it.
And
These kids, you've got to play every day. And this platooning and this, I just don't love it, Bull.
If it's glaring and it's one position,
I'm okay with it there, but it doesn't make sense if you're doing it at multiple positions.
Yeah.
You never get go back and look at. I know that the lineup was great, but when you look at the '95 and the '97 Indians, like their lineup didn't change.
Well, they had an all-star at every position.
I know they did, but I think there's value.
Let them cook.
But Hargrove
let them play.
Let them
we
cook.
talked to Mike about that when we had him on the show. Hargrove was a big believer in starters are a starter for a reason. You play every day.
Yes,
if you're a starter.
and this whole platooning system.
It's the way the game. And a lot of it goes back to the fact that American kids don't switch hit anymore. I wrote about that a couple years ago.
It has a big
So
impact
because
on
there
it.
are no switch hitters, it leads to a higher platoon.
Yeah, teach your kid to switch hit.
All right,
It's
we
not
got
that hard
some
if you learn
super
it early.
chats to wrap up today's show. Going to fly through as many as I can, so let me just read these through. OG Powers says we eat Popeyes for the culture. Brody's bottom line says Buffalo can't beat the Rams, Seattle, or Detroit. You guys got to pump your brakes. They lost to Atlanta this year. Not Paul D. Podesta says Browns win 34-31. Jay, don't get me cold if they win.
34. Ooh.
First of all, I just love the handle. Not
Paul D. Podesta.
Paul D. Podesta.
And it's a picture of Paul D. Podesta with a mustache.
That's wild.
Let me see it.
The fact that he said the Bills lost to the Falcons means they can't win in the playoffs is wild work.
Yeah,
And
no, it is.
it's embarrassing. He
Well,
should have been
Green Bay
embarrassed.
can't either because
He
they
should-
lost to us.
Right, he should have been embarrassed.
That is what we call holiday work.
Yeah.
Holiday work makes you delusional.
James Mace says the Browns have a lot of potential, so number 3 sounds right to me. Nicole Vada says you downplay money. Your quarterback was voted top 10 in the Pro Bowl. He's the number 1 Google athlete. Shedeur, he is money. He's here to stay.
Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
Hey, listen, I want them to vote him in so bad. Because
you know what? I do
Because
too.
it comes down to the
I do too.
The internet
I do
will
too.
melt. That internet will
Because
go
if
crazy.
it comes down to the fans, the dude's got an army.
Like
He's got an army. He'll get voted in, and then it will really be a sham.
Listen, that's gonna be lit. That's gonna be the funniest thing in the world.
Because I already think the Pro Bowl's a joke.
It will be, but not in the way that you're thinking it will be.
I mean, the Pro Bowl's been a joke for 20 years, but let that happen.
He has more touchdown passes than Tyler Huntley did when he made it.
Oh, there you go. Put him in.
Yeah, but what is his turnover to touchdown ratio? Is like
Doesn't
5
matter.
touchdowns, 8
Doesn't matter.
Tyler Huntley was.
All they got to do is even it up.
Hey, reality don't matter no more,
He's not
Jay.
going to get into the Pro Bowl.
Here's what happens.
2025, reality don't matter.
I
tell you, fans are like pushing for it. Fans of Shedeur. If he does, don't be surprised if fans lose their votes.
Nah, they won't.
Like, I mean, how are you going to let fans
but fans
vote?
only get 1/3 of the vote.
I know, but now it's going to be 1/5 of the vote.
He's not.
Next one.
Right.
1/3 of a billion is a lot.
It would be funny. Go ahead.
Derek Waldmiller says, I'm coming down for the game from Buffalo. I know a lot of buses are coming down too, so it'll be a lot of Bills fans. Miles better break the record so I can give it to the guys. Pause. Go Browns.
Yeah.
Getting 100.
Yeah, thank you. He called himself at the end.
James May says, to be fair, if any one of you guys were the owner and be willing to spend more money, you'd want a medal too.
What?
No, he's saying if we were the owner and we had all the money, we would want to be in on the meetings too. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Bebskid
I'm showing
06J
up to that.
says, this show shows an inherent bias against Shedeur. Football's a team sport. Offensive line is trash. Judy drops dimes. Special teams fumbles, allowing 80-yard returns. 12's a rookie, cannot do it alone. J-Bull, Jason, you guys are always anti-12.
Okay, then this person is pro Dylan Gabriel, right? Because he had the same line, same receivers, same coaches, same everything. So
we shouldn't even. That's just silly. That's
he paid a lot of money for that one, so I wanted to make sure.
Read it. That doesn't matter. Read
James
on.
May said, I would take Belichick over Sean Payton and Pete Carroll.
No, not Sean Payton. I'm not even a huge Sean
Carroll.
Payton
I would take
fan.
Belichick over Pete Carroll too.
JB Hoop says, if the Packers don't expend Matt LaFleur, I'm calling him first.
Why would they not extend
Why would
him?
Matt LaFleur leave Green Bay to come here?
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's your boy Oz says, coaches won't want Sanders, but will coach guys with domestic violence and sexual assault charges and all kinds of nonsense. But answering questions about a guy with social media fame is where they draw the line.
I mean, you know what? Sadly, that is the right. He's not wrong.
I'm just telling you, there are coaches
I know
who will look at this and say, I ain't touching that.
We apologize for Dustin's for Jason telling you the truth.
Practice
Fair or
update.
not?
Mike Hall Jr. was back
handle
at
the
practice, but Denzel Ward was not. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes on WKYC
Plus
and
if you're out of
WKYC Plus.
town.